This is the Savage Nation. Look, here's an interview from earlier today with Ken Timmerman on the genocide being waged against Christians in Iraq. It's a story that needs to be told. All you hear about is Iraq, but you don't hear about Christians being killed in Iraq. Let's go to Ken.
Well, Michael, I'll tell you, the Christians in Iraq are simply being driven out of the country. They're being assaulted by radical Muslims. Their churches are being burned. Their priests are being murdered. The children are being beheaded. Women are being raped. It is an absolute disgrace. Much of this is happening, I won't say within earshot and eyesight of American troops, but certainly within miles of American troops. And one of the things that I don't understand very well, and one of the reasons I wrote this article in Front Page Magazine, was why we aren't doing more about it.
Oh, it's that bad?
One of the key questions here is why we aren't doing more about it, and why we aren't putting pressure on the Iraqi government. And I think, one reason is that the Iraqis are very careful to have us not appear to take any side, to take anyone's side in the various partisan and sectarian battles going on inside of Iraq today. But I think it's a tremendous mistake. Christians do not have a militia. Christians have not taken part in this fighting. Christians are simply becoming martyrs to Muslims. The Al-Qaeda in Iraq appointed an emir, a prince of the Dora area south of Baghdad not too long ago, who now is collecting the jizya, the protection tax. So he's going to all the Christian families who remain, and there are fewer and fewer who have been left behind, but he's going to all of them who remain and demanding that they pay what amounts to about a month's salary for an average Iraqi to be under the protection of the Muslim leadership. And if they don't pay that, they have a choice, he says. They can die or they can leave.
This is crazy.
Well, here's what's happened with them is that in response, Michael, they're basically leaving. They're leaving the country. There's one enclave in northern Iraq, in a Kurdish area where they have been going. Thousands of them have gone to seek refuge, but the overwhelming majority, hundreds of thousands of the Assyrians and the Chaldeans from Iraq have taken refuge in either Syria or Jordan. And I'll tell you, there's an irony to this, because they're being treated better in Syria, which we have, the United States government has a good reason to believe is supporting the Iraqi insurgency. They're being treated better by the Syrians than they are by our ally, the King of Jordan, Abdullah II. In Jordan, the Christians are parked in ghettos. They are not allowed to work. They're not allowed to send their children to the government schools. And, in fact, the Jordanian authorities have closed down the Christian schools because they accuse them of proselytizing, of teaching Christianity. So they need some real help. I think Congress could extend them some help. And, frankly, I think the U.S. government ought to be having some words with King Abdullah of Jordan to get him to rectify the situation and treat the Iraqi Christians as human beings.
Unbelievable.
Well, here, Michael, this is one of the great tragedies is the fact this Christian community in Iraq is probably one of the oldest Christian communities in the world. From ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Babylon, the language that they use in their liturgy today is Aramaean, the language that Jesus spoke. So they are a very ancient Christian community. They've been in the area, if you wish, with Baghdad in the center, to the north and the south, in a fairly narrow belt. But there are also Assyrians in Syria and in Turkey and in parts of Iran as well. So this community has spread into neighboring countries also over the past 2,000 years.
Astonishing.
Well, why is the media ignoring the plight of the Christians? It's because they're Christian. They're not Muslim. They are not, it is politically correct for Christians to be murdered, apparently, in the eyes of the American media. Many of these, the Assyrians that I have met recently have asked me the same question, and frankly, they will thank you, Michael, for talking about it on your show. This is tremendously important. I think it's tremendously important for American Christians to understand this as well. I, by the way, learned quite a bit about the recent events from a group called Christian Solidarity International, which deals with Assyrians and with embattled Christians around the world, and they're doing absolutely tremendous work. Father Keith Roderick is the coordinator of this effort that works with Christians in Jordan, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in Iran and Egypt and other countries, including Pakistan, by the way.
Wow, that's something.
Well, how have Christians been treated in Iraq and the rest of the Middle East? Basically, miserably. Under Saddam, they were persecuted as well, not quite to the extent that they're being persecuted today, but there was certainly no political freedom, very little religious freedom. They were a captive community. But today they're being driven out by in large numbers. The estimates are that roughly half of the 1.4 million Christians who had lived in Iraq before the liberation in 2003 have been driven out by radical Muslims. This is the battle of radical Islam against the rest of the world, against, quote, non-believers. And you see this emir of Dora, south of Baghdad, the al-Qaeda prince who's now in control of that neighborhood, when he opposes the protection tax, the jizya, what he says is, you have, as the Quran said, you have the choice, Christians and Jews, to live under Muslim protection and Muslim authority. If you do not accept the superiority of Islam and Muslim control, you can leave or be killed. And that's what we're facing right now. We're facing this worldwide jihad against non-jihadis, whether they be Christians, Jews, or even Muslims who do not accept radical Islam.
Oh, my God.
Well, what will happen to the Christians of Iraq in the future? I think I can tell you one thing, Michael, is that they won't become like the Palestinians and start blowing up airplanes. I think they will wind up settling in other countries. I hope they will wind up coming back to Iraq as the situation becomes calmer. I was reminded as I was working on this piece and talking to some of the representatives of the Assyrian community of Tertullian, who said during the Emperor Nero in Roman times, he said, the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. That is really the only good news I can find in this story eventually, is that perhaps the suffering of these Christians in Iraq at the hands of jihadi Muslims will serve as an example to others.
Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. This was really an eye-opener.
Well, Michael, thank you very much for having me, and it's really a privilege to be able to talk about this particular issue. Thank you.
So you see, Christians in Iraq are being killed, persecuted, driven out by Muslims who we liberated. The Iraqi Christians had more freedom under Saddam Hussein than they do now, and more protection. Peter in San Diego, go ahead. You're on the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, it is a pleasure. For the first time I'm calling you. I've been listening to you for years and years. I don't remember how long, but this is the first time ever I hear talking about. I'm so emotional now. Our people are killed. Our people are driven out from country. It is so bad. We are original indigenous Assyrian Christian of the country. Unfortunately, not the Kurds, not the Arabs are our allies right now. Not even America is our allies today.
Wait, you are of Assyrian heritage. Assyrians are Christians, and you lived in Iraq for how long?
I lived in Iraq up to 1973. I left the country in 1973.
Well, I'm sorry, I asked the wrong question. How long has there been an Assyrian presence, a Christian Assyrian presence in Iraq? You would mean for centuries, I assume.
For centuries, Assyrians are the indigenous people of Mesopotamia. That's Mesopotamia. Iraq was named in 1900 when England took over and divided to Turks to divide it.
Right. That's right. Iraq was made up by the League of Nations in 1927. But, Peter, let me ask you something, and this is the most important question. Under Saddam Hussein, the dictator, were the Assyrian Christians free to practice their religion?
To be honest with you, not freely, and not even he didn't even let us read our language. Where he killed so many people just because they were trying to read and write history of Assyrian. He didn't want to hear that. But we were better than what we are right now. Yes, we were.
Wait a minute. You mean even though it was terrible under him, it's worse now?
Yes, now it's worse. It's so bad that even they go to North. Let me tell you a story. They go to North. American church are giving $13.5 million a year to Kurds to help Assyrians, to give it to Assyrians. out of that money is not even 1 million spent for Assyrians. They don't have, they build them some houses, some worthless houses, and they're supposed to give them monthly money. They don't even give them, so they have no choice to take off and run out of the country. Right now, Jordan has over 70,000 in there. Assyrians or Christian Chaldean Assyrians are in there.
Unbelievable. And this is another hidden fact of the oppression of Christians by the Muslims who were liberated by George Bush's war. This is astonishing. The whole thing's a nightmare. It's getting worse by the day. It's like when you pick up the rock, how many different scorpions can run out of it at once?